So basically, he had gone and done each of them individually in a day, driving between, and mentioned the idea to us, like, oh, you guys should go out and like try to link them all up on foot. And we're like, yeah, we should. Hey guys, I'm Jason Hardrath, one of the founders of the Crater Lake Rim High Route. It used to be called the Crater Lake Circumnavigation with 7 high points, but that was way too much to roll off the tongue. So we all kind of agreed to give it a new name, a little catchier. You know, some people, names are important. Anyhow, I had this crazy idea a while ago that it would be fun, since this route was established by Winston and I back in 2018, to get in touch with all the people who've held the FKT and jump on a Zoom call and chat about our experiences on the route and any beta we had. So, I mean, forgive me, this is my first time doing anything like this, so it's not super polished, but I think we had a lot of fun, and there's some nuggets of good beta spread throughout. Without further ado, let's jump into it. The thing that stands out here to me is choose any starting point so long as you finish where you start, and tag all 7 high points. Route involves some route finding and many epic views. And after I intro you guys, I kind of want you to chat about, like, what was the unique draw? What brought you to this particular FKT? First off, Greg Horvath, you made your first FKT debut in 2018, as far as the FKT site is concerned. And you did that by traversing the skyline of the, I'm probably going to say this wrong, Timpanogos Mountains, correct?
I thought it was Timpanogos, but
Timpanogos, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not from Utah. People from Utah are laughing right now if they're seeing this.
Yeah, they're probably laughing at me though too, so it's okay.
And you were the first person to do this solo. You were a solo attempt. You did it in 2019, and upon finishing, I think the words you wrote were "beautiful and challenging day. Wow, what a place." Well, I'm glad you were able to make it.
Yeah, no, happy to be on the call and stoked to nerd out a little bit on the route with all of you. So. And
around the same time in 2019, Sean, you and Jordan, who couldn't make it, it was your FKT debut on this route. Stories of epic bunks, an icy fall, shots of whiskey. It sounds like you made quite a story out of the 8 hours you spent going around the lake here. And you described it at the end as a classic Northwest volcano circumnavigation, but unique in that there's no mountain in the way.
Yeah, that's true. You get a view of the lake the whole time. You can see the rim. Because I'm from Portland area, and everybody up here, like, the classic summer adventures are volcano circumnavigations, or like in the Three Sisters, it's 3 volcanoes. So this is just another one of those, but there's no volcano in the way. You can see the whole which is, I gotta give Jordan credit. He was the one who said that while we were out there. And us doing it was his idea as well. So. Yeah,
him to blame.
Yeah, awesome. And next up, I'll go ahead and intro Ashley. You started FKTs in 2019, according to the FKT site, with your first ever, and you're currently at 18. Where does that rank you as far as women with the most FKTs?
Well, so it currently says 18 on the website, but I actually have 2 more that have not been listed yet. So I'm at 20.
You heard it here first, folks. You heard it here first.
She's gonna sneak attack some folks just like I did to you, Sean.
Right?
And if I'm correct, you were, well, I know I'm correct. You were the first and only woman to finish, and you soloed it and did it unsupported. Also in 2019. So you went from 0 to 18 in 1 year?
Yeah, about.
Wow. And you currently host your own podcast, Women of the Wild, women spelled with an X. And that's also a blogging site as well.
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
Which I'm like super glad you brought that up, because I always like to, kind of self-plug in a way.
There you go. There's your plug. Check it out.
Absolutely.
And then I guess there's me.
Yeah, you got to intro yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many FKTs do you have, Jason?
As of today, 61.
You heard it here first, folks.
So what's your
Did you get a new one today?
I did one this morning, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
How long is it going to take you to pass? Is it Ben Nephew who's got the most?
He has 60 right now.
Oh. Yes, today's the day.
Today's the day.
Hey-o.
Now what you need to do is you need to go to he's an East Coast guy, right? You need to go to the East Coast and take one of his. That's what you should have done.
I know. And I want to, like anyone listening to this, I respect Ben. He is an amazing athlete. If I was able to take one of his, it would have to be my very best day. And likely it was a day he had a bad day. Like that's how good he is. So no disrespect, but that would be amazing at the same time to go there. And there's one of them I found that maybe it seems that the numbers work out that it's possible. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Let's back into this route.
Sounds like some competitive calculus going on.
What drew you guys? What was the unique thing that made you choose to come and do this route, to come and try the Crater Lake 7 high points?
If I can interrupt, I honestly, I want to push that question to you because you founded the route.
Yeah.
And I'd love to answer it myself, but this was your original idea.
All right. And I mean,
so if I may,
Winston here. Winston and I were totally together. Back in 2018, we were dirtbag climbers and ultra runners looking for ultra adventures in the alpine environment. And we actually founded this route without knowing what FKTs were yet. We just were looking for a big day, and its origin story is that we had a friend named Paul Kinney. He hosts his own YouTube channel now. It's called Simple Outdoors. And he was working on this big project to summit all of the 8K peaks in Oregon, all of the 8,000 foot peaks in Oregon. Nice. And of course, in order to do that, you've got to hit up all these high points around Crater Lake because many of them are 8,000. They're at the 8,000 mark, which is, one of the things about this route. You're spending the whole day between 6,000 and 8,000 feet in elevation. So basically, he had gone and done each of them individually in a day, driving between, and mentioned the idea to us, like, oh, you guys should go out and try to link them all up on foot. And we're like, yeah, we should. And we just did some basic route finding and said, all right, let's do it. And we just shot from the hip and tried to figure stuff out. And that's where if you look at the current, I'm going to update the route description since more people have done it. But that's where our beta for down climbing the back of Dutton Cliffs is disrecommended because we basically fell our way down the backside of the Dutton Cliffs and ended up right past a cougar den where there was fresh droppings. We're like, whoa, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So it was interesting. There was lots of reasons to be scared. So that's the story there, in case people have noticed that disrecommended beta.
Yeah, definitely. That was my biggest concern. I was like, this sounds like I should worry about it.
So that's kind of the origin story. It's
Neat.
A product of taking a friend's idea and adapting it to one big effort. And then once I discovered what FKTs were later on, I realized that this had to be on there. It was a super classic experience. We got to see the lake in ways that nobody sees it. It was amazing. But I feel like I'm stealing the show here.
Oh no, you're good. I'm digging that.
What was your experience?
I'm digging that structure if somebody else was like, yeah, I did all these high points. Hey, you dumb ultra runners, you should just go link all of these together. And you're
that was basically it.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Link ups are fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think technically, Greg, you were next because you did it the next June, and
I guess that's true.
I did it in July, so you should share next.
Sure, I'm going chronological order. Yeah, I mean.
Well, first off, let's start. How far away were you when you were looking at this route? Where were you? Like, were you in Colorado? Were you in California?
Yeah, it's a good question. So my best friend from middle school and high school was in the Shakespeare Festival over the summer, and so I was spending some time with her in Ashland. Yeah, so and my mom lives in Bend, and so I had planned this week to like see her, spend a couple weeks with my mom in Oregon. My sister went to U of O, so like, and now my sister's moving to Bend in next month actually. So like I got a lot of family in the area, and
nice.
I can't remember if I was in Ashland or beforehand, but my mom basically had decided, you know, she really wanted to go to Crater Lake for a couple days. It was like, you know, it's June, kind of a beautiful time to be there. And so I was like, oh, well, if I'm going to be hanging around there, like, I wonder how far it'd be to run around the lake. So that was the initial idea. It was like, you know, I've been running more. I wonder how long that would be. I wonder if I could do that. And so then naturally, what's that?
What a great starting point.
Yeah. I was just like, man, I mean, I've gone there, a bunch over the years. But yeah, just kind of that basic motivation of like, this is a beautiful place. Can I go run around it? And then I got on the FKT website sort of naturally and was like, somebody's got to have run the road or done some shenanigans like that. And so then I saw this route and I was like, oh, that is such a great way to go about this. Like, you not only are you running around the lake, but you actually get some vert in, you get some summits, you get a lot of off trail. And so I've been running, but I wasn't running enough that I exclusively wanted to run the road. So yeah, I mean, this route just seemed adventurous, and it was kind of a no-brainer. As soon as I saw somebody else had done it, I got psyched, as we all say, and started just like looking into it more. And we were in Crater Lake for 2 days, so I didn't have time to really recon anything. And I was like, well, on the way I bought an inReach, because my mom was like, you know, I'm like, Mom, I'm almost 30. Can you like calm down with the, you know, the concern? But it was nonetheless a family vacation. And so I'm like, I bought an inReach, like showed her how she was going to get text updates and all that. Yeah. And then was like, all right, I'm going to go for a long run one day. And she's like, okay, what are you going to do? I was like, well, I think I'm going to run around the lake. She's like, oh, okay.
Well, okay.
She's like, so should we do the dinner reservation at like at 7 or 8? I was like, let's do 8. You know.
So was that the moment that she realized, or had she already figured out that her son wasn't quite normal?
She's done that for a while.
Yeah, my mom figured it out pretty early too.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, honestly, it was very natural of just like, it looked like, you know, Crater Lake's such a stunningly beautiful place. Getting to run a long route around it is inherently inspiring. And then this route just seemed like a well-designed way to go about it. So that was a spark. Yeah.
The lack of design made it well designed. All right, Sean, let's hear yours.
Well, so Jordan and I were on a run in Forest Park on a spring day a year ago. And we were talking about summer FKT ideas and like race plans and trying to figure out where our calendars overlapped. And the main objective was a route that I have been putting together for the last few years in Eastern Oregon and the Wallowas. That was the number one goal. So we wanted to pick something that was an August goal. So we were trying to pick something that would be a good long run training effort for that. And Jordan pitched the idea of this Crater Lake Rim. He's like, it's higher elevation, which is like the Wallowas. It's going to be a lot of vert, like the Wallowas. It's going to be off trail, mostly off trail, and it's going to be a good vacation spot for us to go with our ladies. So let's make it a double date vacation sufferfest.
Wait, Sean, am I hearing this right? So what we all like worked really hard on, this was your like training run / vacation? No,
well, okay. Right? So I don't want to put it, okay, that makes it, don't paint me that way. So it was an honest effort. We really did put it that way, but it was for a bigger effort. It wasn't the A goal.
For sure. No, I'm just teasing you.
Yeah. I know. I didn't want to sound that way. But yeah, so that was the idea. And we thought, in hindsight, I wouldn't do that again in July. But we got a hot day. It was pretty hot, but we'll get into that later. Yeah, that was the genesis of the idea. And then I started Jordan was really busy at the time, so I had a little extra time to look into the route, and I started getting really psyched. I reached out to Jason, and at the time, Greg, you hadn't posted your thing yet. So I thought that Jason's time was the time to beat. So we were like, we could do 11. What was it, 11 something?
11:41.
I was like, we can beat that. I was like, I think we can do sub 9. So that's what we started aiming for. I reached out to you, got your disrecommended beta, and I think we decided to go the other direction. But I think we'll get into that.
Ooh.
The other, I think our group is the anomaly. I think all of you guys went counterclockwise, and we went clockwise.
Huh.
Yeah. But we can debate that in a minute.
Sure.
Absolutely. All right, Ashley, you're up.
So I first heard about the route when you and Winston did it initially, because I knew you guys at the time, and you guys were doing like all these crazy link ups, and yeah, I did know you. I remember you talking about it and like all your guys' stories, and it was like you guys had a lot of fun and came back with some pretty crazy stories. And so
11 and a half hours. They better have had fun.
Right.
I wish I could have found an old video. We actually got really frustrated with all the trash we were finding, and we literally started loading our bags with trash, and then every time we'd go by a trash can, throwing it away. Anyway,
I didn't see a single piece of trash the entire time. You told me to look for it. Didn't see a single piece. So you did a good job cleaning up.
Thank you.
Yeah, you must have. But yeah, so I knew about it then, and I was kind of intrigued by it, but wasn't really into the like mountain link ups or scrambling. And the way you guys did it, it sounded like there was a lot of scrambling. And so I was like, oh, I don't know. But went ahead and went for it the same day as Jason, actually. And there's something about the like off-road or off-trail stuff, route finding, that I really enjoy. As sufferfesty as it can be. And then, the idea of after gaining some more experience, like the scrambling sounded way more fun to me. And so I was like all in for it at that point. And it's really one of the things that I love about doing FKTs or routes like this is that you get to do something that not a lot of other people get to do, and see the lake, in this case, the lake, from different points of view that nobody else gets to see it from. And so that was like the big draw for me.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty cool part of the experience. I didn't know it was going to be so cool going in to do it the first time, was how different that lake looks from the different perspectives on those high points, which is something we'll get more into later as well. Yeah, I think we've covered history, covered kind of the unique draws of the route. I guess we'll get into some basics, because I put out some questions on Instagram to see what people wanted to hear, and they wanted to know the basics. So a few basics, looking at Strava from all of our FKT reports. Distances came in. There are differences between them, because obviously route finding is a part of this. 29.3 miles, 29.7 miles, 28.7 miles, 27.3 miles. I think if somebody had a perfect line where they didn't have any snow or detours, I think it could go maybe just barely under 27, because that
Really?
27.39 was my most recent line around the lake. When I went and reclaimed the crown, and I had to take one detour around Hillman instead of charging straight up that steep face. It was icy, so I had to detour around on the road and hit it from the other side that was in the sun.
Gotcha.
So I think someone could potentially do this in less than 27 miles.
Wow.
Did you out and back on the Watchman, or did you go down or up? Excuse me, because you're going the other way. Did you go up the north side?
The trail's just quicker, so I took the trail.
Okay, gotcha. Because I think someone cut that and went straight up it. So I think there's a few places where.
Yeah, I went straight up it because it was on snow.
Ah,
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Which gets
Yeah.
into the thing.
I think sub 27 miles is definitely with a perfect line, for sure. Agreed.
Perfect line. But the perfect line keeps changing with the months.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the thing.
that is a good question. A good thought-provoking line of thought.
Now, as far as vert came in 7,480, 7,913, 7,360, 7,500, and 7,533. So probably ballpark of 7,500, 7.5K.
I had 7.2.
Oh, is that what yours was?
Yeah, 7,198. Maybe I cheated.
I must not have. I couldn't get access to your Strava because you had your Strava settings on private. So
Oh,
You're one of those.
Oh.
I can explain.
So now, I think to a lot of people, obviously, 7,500 feet of vert in a 50K would be quite a bit, but it's not unheard of. But I think we need to talk about pumice sand and the experience of attempting to run, especially in those climbs on the pumice sand, and what that feels like, even though you're able to cut this route potentially down somewhere under 27 miles, more likely in the 27 to 28 range based on our experiences. But is it going to feel like 27 or 28, or is it going to feel 50K? Is it going to feel longer? What do you guys think?
Was anybody actually running up that? That's impressive. Okay.
Always power hiking.
Yeah. Okay.
Those climbs are gnarly.
No. Yeah. I can't speak to this too much because almost all the big climbs are covered in snow for me.
Okay.
Like the only time that I was really on dry trail, I was either on road or I was mostly on snow.
And you did it in June, right?
Yeah, June.
June.
There were certainly dry sections, but I didn't experience a whole lot of pumice sand.
But
you're lucky.
it feels longer or shorter than a 50K?
Oh, way longer.
Yeah, definitely felt long.
Yeah. I did a 50K a couple years ago with like a similar vert profile, and I did that like 2.5 hours fast.
Yeah.
So I just want people to understand what they're getting in on, that it's not just like, oh yeah, I'm running on a trail or I'm running on, a packed surface. It's when you step into that pumice sand, sometimes it can be taking good chunks off of every stride.
Going down it was like plunge stepping in snow. It just like filled your shoes and
flying down
that's
those
one of the reasons
holes.
Yeah.
Did you experience that, Sean? Those random holes, like you get into a good rhythm on the pumice sand, and then suddenly it just like caves underneath because there's like a little animal tunnel.
So these things that you're talking about climbing the pumice sand, we went down them because we went the other direction.
True.
So it was real fun, like pumice ski, like scree ski type.
Ooh.
So the reason we reversed it was we were trying to optimize runnable sections. We knew we were going to have to hike the climbing, but we wanted to optimize the amount of downhill. So that's why we set it up that way.
Well, makes sense. So shorter, steeper climbs, longer, shallower descents.
Exactly. Steeper climbs, longer, more runnable descents.
Okay, so that's so logical.
Well,
this is
we don't have the fastest time, so maybe.
Let's debate.
Hey, neither do I.
Yeah.
Pros and cons of like where to start.
Ooh.
But let's stay on the direction. I would say I like the direction I went in, largely based on the experience on ascending up to the height of Garfield, Applegate, Dutton, because you get to ascend a trail, which uses so much less energy, and you can kind of, especially early on, basically run the whole thing.
Right.
And then you get that scree descent down the backside. If you follow the good beta and you don't go down where Winston and I did, you get this awesome, like super fast scree downhill experience that feels really efficient.
Yeah.
So I liked it for that. And then the other reason I chose that direction is Hillman is basically a moderate scramble if you attack it coming from counterclockwise, and then you get also a sandy scree descent on the other side to go to Watchman. And I was like, okay, that's significantly faster as long as unfortunately I ran into ice, so I didn't get to do that. But I think that's worth some time as well.
I'm curious how Greg came down Applegate in the snow. Did you have an ice axe? What were you doing there? How did that play out?
Yeah. No, I did not have an ice axe. I'm looking at the map because I don't have all the names. Yeah, no, really.
I had to pull it up too.
I had to pull it up too. Honestly, that was the best foot skiing on the route for me.
Really?
Oh yeah. Like, I don't know, maybe 20 degrees. And it wasn't like enough that you could just plant your feet and slide, but it was kind of like the really long strides kind of feel like you're not that I actually rollerblade, but you know what I mean? Like a single lunge will take you like 5-10 feet of extra slide. So yeah, no, it didn't feel I didn't have spikes, but the snow was like, it was soft corn. It was great for running down. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, there were some chutes. I think I could have hit steeper terrain and I intentionally chose not to. Right. So, I think I needed to hit some steeper terrain to get down to the road there. And I just, was fortunate enough that the snow had melted, that it was dirt and scree there. So also a bit more west facing, probably just didn't load up as much.
Cool.
Yeah.
Actually, if you did it again, same direction or opposite direction?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed the Ashley part. I don't know. I think I would be willing to try it in the other direction, but that scree field that you're talking about coming down off of Dutton, like I
so miserable.
Could not imagine going up that.
It sucked. That was the low point. So here's the thing. So this loops into the other question. So we started in between the Watchman and Hillman, that parking lot there. Really? So our last big climb was that scree field. And it was middle of the day heat in early July. So it was hot. We're both valley boys living at 50 feet. So being at 8,000 feet when it's super hot, we're out of water. It's super steep. That's where it turned into the Sufferfest.
Yeah. I liked getting it done early and then where I started, I had like just kind of trail for the last bit of it. So it was nice, like getting most of the off-trail stuff done in the beginning and then having just kind of smooth trail at the end. And I finished after dark because they did it in November. So
yeah, short days.
Yeah, it actually, the sun was setting just as I summited Hillman.
Wow.
It's pretty fantastic.
Oh, that sounds like a good memory.
Yeah, probably my favorite part of it.
So you started at the lodge and
near the lodge.
Near the lodge, yeah, okay.
Somewhere like one of those outbuildings.
And then went up
remember
Garfield.
what it's called.
And my most recent attempt, that's where I started too. As soon as I made the decision I was going to go unsupported, I mean, I think there could be a better start. I always like to start, if I'm going to do a loop, at a low point, so I know I'm finishing downhill. And I mean, there could be a lower point that's technically is going to be a faster finish, but that one just makes it so convenient as a start finish point. You're going to have access to it. You're going to be right near like bathrooms when you start and bathrooms when you finish, and you can go buy food, or if you're like, oh, I want a burger. Unless it's super late and they're closed already. you've got more, like as a convenience, like someone who's going to come do this route who, maybe isn't wanting to optimize and make it perfect. Because I did have one person ask like, oh, fun versus fast on this route. What different choices would you make? And I think as far as satisficing, good enough, it is one of the best starts when you factor convenience in. Sean, I know you started at a different point with Jordan though.
Yeah, we were the weirdos. So we went the wrong direction and we tried to set it up so that we were hitting, because part of it going in July is you got to think about water. So the snow's almost melted out, and there's really no water on the route until you get around to Applegate and Garfield. There's some water coming down there. So we were able to fill up at the bottom, or like right before. I think it's like, I'm looking at my map right now on my phone.
That's the only place I got water was at the base of Applegate.
Yeah. So we were out of it basically, or we were almost out of it by the time we got to the top, and then we were scooping snow into our bottles. But we set it up that way so that we could stop at the store at the lodge. And we got ginormous 32-ounce Cokes. But we waited in line for, well, here's the thing. So we thought we were chasing Jason's time. So we got into the lodge at like 7 hours.
Make me feel bad.
So we were like, we got hours. Let's get a Coke. We met our girls there, had whiskey shots, we're like, we got this in the
bag.
And then that last section of rolling trail, which is the only part of the rim that I had ever done before, was that section from the lodge up to the Watchman. So we're like, I know this. It's rolling. It was way harder than I remembered, but rolling runnable trail really late in that was brutal. And then the Watchman, and then back down. But we set it up so that we would hit the lodge late so that we could refuel and see our ladies.
And when Winston and I originally did it, we started from Cloud Cap, which is a terrible start if you want to be efficient.
Yeah.
But we did it for the same reason, so that at our halfway point we would be in the lodge and could restock.
Full stock.
So that's how our original one ended up self-supported. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
And I think somebody could do a smoking time like self-supported if they actually went around and did drops at the various like pull-offs.
Sure. Yeah.
I just carried it
along the road. That'd be
And I also question, I wonder if we're going to see a fast time where somebody actually pops onto a lot more of the road during that section with the trail, because the trail does, like you guys said, it's rolling. And the road is a lot more consistent. So I think someone might, even though it's going to be a little bit longer, someone might eventually choose to take the road for efficiency's sake.
Yeah, that last little bit. I could see that. I want to say I did that a little bit, but I was so tired it didn't really help me much.
Same. I did the same. Yeah, I kind of like veered off onto the road, and then I got back onto the trail because I felt like I wasn't being true to the route in a way. So I got back on the trail and kept following the trail then.
Oh yeah, I was on the road though, from Watchman back to the lodge.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Whoops.
It'll be interesting to see if someone does that again.
I don't think it, I think I was so exhausted at that point. I don't think it wasn't like, woohoo, runnable, he's going so fast,
I think that's part of the fun, part of the interest of this route is that I don't think we'll really know for years and lots of people trying how the different variables play, and that's part of the fun of it for me is like the choose your own adventure element is so interesting.
I think it really depends on your strengths too, and season. Yep. Like I know for me, like starting and finishing at the lodge was just very natural from just like a fun standpoint. And then being able to foot ski down stuff definitely saved me a ton of time. But the other big factor in my head was, okay, I'm going to be tired. I'm going to be way more likely to run on roads than on trails. And so I tried to, my thought on sort of when I was already operating under the assumption that I'd start and end at the lodge, going, well, I'm already forgetting that, going counterclockwise. No, going clockwise puts all the road at the front end.
Yeah, that's why.
So then you're running roads when you're fresh, versus my hope was that I would be running roads when I was tired, but because they're easier, I would have the strength to run them. That didn't end up being the case. But I think, one can dream for future efforts and stuff. I think I'd still go the same way.
All right. So we are starting to run out of time here. So I'm going to go ahead and, unless anybody has any really cool stories from their experience that you feel like would be cool to share, I think I'll jump us into our lightning round to close out, since you need to get off to dinner there, Greg.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that.
So any fun stories really quick before we jump into the lightning round?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well,
nothing too crazy. My only quick one was coming up to Cloud Cap. I didn't know if the road was open, and I had, was just like, am I allowed to be out here? And so there were snow plows, like on, the roads there's like roads above each other, in that area. And I just remember coming around the corner and seeing a snow plow and being like, oh shit. It just kind of like, ran quickly, frankly, and tried to stay out of visibility. The roads are far enough apart. I wasn't super likely, but it was just, I had this narrative in my head of being such a bandit, but they probably didn't care at all.
Probably not.
No.
You have a quick story.
What the hell is that guy doing out there? He better not need help, because we're trying to do our jobs. Yeah, I guess the only other thing was, personally, I just started cramping at mile 12, and when you do it in June, the road's not open. And so I was like, man, I really got to finish this thing, because no one's coming to get me,
Oh, wow.
So that was, I definitely had to navigate that. So that just upped the stress a little bit, but nothing too wild and crazy. I think those are just a little higher commitment than I had intended.
That's fun. I like that. We ran into horrendous mosquitoes at Cloud Cap, like classic, terrible July Cascade mosquitoes. Disgusting. You had to keep your mouth closed because they were so thick. It was bad.
It's like COVID.
So on the question of season, maybe there's not really a perfect season.
I don't think I will ever do that in July again. I can say that.
Okay.
I don't think that is optimal at all.
Maybe fall.
I'm curious to try it in fall. I think your beta was good, Jason, on that front.
The only thing you run in fall is
if
it's the fire season, you're running in smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, but right? You can sort of pick that. You're like, oh, we're not going to go this week, right?
I ran with Jordan yesterday, and I was asking him his thoughts on this, and he kind of pointed out the off-trail nature of this also kind of brings up the topic of the land and conserving it and taking care of it. And I think traveling on snow, if people are going to see this and you're going to give it a go, I think doing it on snow is probably the best way to enjoy it. Maybe not the fastest, but for the sake of the park and for the sake of future use.
Lower impact, yeah.
Lower impact, yeah. That's Jordan's 2 cents.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Important.
Yeah. Let him know that we appreciate that.
So the next time I do it, I want to do it in June. So, yeah.
All right, lightning round. Let's see. I'm just gonna pick randomly, and I'll just say a name and read a question. Sean, for this route, is technicality needed, technical skill, or is it just an athletic feat, or is it based on grit?
I'd say technical skill is definitely needed. I think route finding is underrated, and you definitely need it. And being comfortable on steep slopes is really that was the most fun part for me. But a lot of people I know would not enjoy that at all.
I agree. Greg, what is the best shoe for this route?
Your favorite shoe.
Awesome answer.
Yeah, I mean,
Is
I'm not trying to cop it out, but I feel like shoes are a whole nother,
I kind of agree.
like seasons worth of podcast discussions. But yeah, find a shoe that you love and that you can take off quickly enough and dump all the things that have gotten inside of it, because that's going to happen all the time on this route.
That is true. He's not lying. Ashley, is tourist traffic an issue on this route? Like, are you going to be fighting to get through the crowds?
I think it depends on the time of year, because when I did it, it was November and the road was closed and there weren't that many people there. There was no traffic on the roads because the road was closed. And but I think if you're in like peak tourist season, then anywhere around the lodge, the Watchman is a super popular hike. Any of those areas are going to be pretty inundated with people.
Good to know.
So again, maybe a good time to do it in June or November when
Spring
I did
or
it.
fall.
Yeah.
Sun seasons.
And I guess I'll field this one. Fun versus fast. Like I assume what they're asking here is, what choices would you make if you were just going out to do these 7 high points just for fun versus doing them fast? I think I would choose to avoid the road as much as possible if I was just doing it for fun, like just be right on the rim all day, as opposed to choosing the more efficient surface and being away from the lake further. I think that would be the biggest choice I would make for fun. And if I was doing it for fun, I would definitely start on the far side of the lake from the lodge, the northern side of the lake, so that I knew midday I was gonna like have that midday refreshment and then drive back to the lodge again for more refreshment. I think that might be the way I would do it. Yeah, and then fast, I mean, we've already been debating what to do to go fast.
There's no right answer.
There's no right answer.
Clockwise on snow.
And Sean, based on your write-up, is whiskey good beta? Do you recommend?
I'm neutral. I didn't feel good after, but I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have felt good after anyway. So I was pretty worked by then.
Oh, awesome. And Greg, what is the hardest of the high points to get to the top of?
I think the hardest for me was either the Watchman or Hillman. Mostly because I was in beat out running shoes on snow without spikes, without poles, or without an ice axe.
If I remember, like Winston sort of agreed that, like, because we hit Hillman when it was totally dry and we charged right up the steep face, and he's like, yeah, that one's the most technical. I
ended up pulling on and doing some like 4th class rock moves because, I mean, you're just in your bottom. I don't remember exact numbers, but I want to say at least a 300-foot snow slope, up to 400, 500 feet, somewhere in that range. And I remember pulling on and pulling some like low 5th class moves just so that I could like get out of that position. But yeah, so those are the hardest peaks for me, for sure.
All right. And I think I fired 2 questions each of your way.
No, you got one more for Ashley, I think.
No, yeah.
Oh, no, you're right. Ashley, here's your question. How much water for unsupported? Because you carried all your water from start to finish, right?
I did.
Oh, you
yeah.
did. Whoa.
Yeah, I did it unsupported. So there was no stopping at the store or anything like that. I carried all of my water and my, what's that?
Is it no 32-ounce Coke?
No 32-ounce Coke, although I like desperately wanted one about halfway through. So my general rule for any kind of effort is about 1 liter of water per 10 miles. So I think I took about 3 liters of water, and then I sort of already knew that it was going to take me longer than it normally would for any 50K. So I took, I think, another half a liter. So I had about 3.5 liters of water. And it was a weird day for me. I like couldn't, from the get-go, I couldn't really eat anything. I'd start hiccuping and nausea. And so I just kind of relied on my water and the tailwind in my water for the whole entire day.
Wow, like a boss.
I do love tailwind. I wish they were sponsoring me to tell you that, but I do love. I'll +1 the tailwind. That's
I'll
gold.
tailwind as well.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Can't do the tailwind, but I love you, tailwind, but I just can't.
All right, final question to everyone, and I guess we'll answer in chronological order. Favorite high point as far as like view of the lake or like experience wise? And I guess I'll start since I was the first one to do the route that's on. I think my favorite view of the lake, if it's just based on view of the lake, was actually from the Dutton Cliffs. I think I liked that viewpoint the best, that angle. I mean, it's close with a couple of the other ones, but that one stands out a little to me. Greg?
Yeah, I think I'd say the same. Yeah, Dutton Cliffs are. Yeah, I mean, I hadn't seen that vantage point before, and yeah, so I'll stick with that.
Cool.
I'd go with Hillman. I think part of it was that was our first peak, so it was like the sun was just coming up. You're looking right down on Wizard Island. It's a cool spot, and it's a little, like you guys are saying, it's a little more technical, so it feels like a Cascade scramble. So that was probably the lighting and how fresh we felt.
Like, this is gonna be an amazing day.
Exactly, like I'm so amped. Yeah.
Ashley?
I would say Hillman. That peak, I kind of, because it was the second to last peak that I did, it like was in my mind the whole entire day because I had no idea what I was getting into. I didn't know what kind of scrambling it was going to be, if I could even summit it. So I was like worried about it all day. And when I got to it, the sun was actually just setting. And so by the time I actually hit the peak, the sun had just dipped below the horizon, and the sky was this beautiful red, and the view of the lake was amazing. And it was just kind of this really incredible feeling like, okay, I got this one. I'm good. Like all I have to do is get down and I'm done. Like Watchman, is like an easy trail. So yeah, I think Hillman was my favorite view and experience.
Awesome.
Nice.
2 and 2.
Well,
2 and 2.
thank you guys so much for getting on and sharing your time to talk about this. I just had this crazy idea. Let's talk beta and FKTs and like post it to the route description, basically an audio video route description, like a trip report. And I wanted to see how it went. I thought this was fun. I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, this was great.
Yeah,
hopefully people get
Look at
motivated to go out and do it. I mean, it's such a great route. And it sounds like both doing it in early season or late season, and when the roads close, like you get to experience some unique solitude out there. So yeah. Thanks for organizing, Jason.
Absolutely. I'll post your guys' contact information, if that's okay with you, in the description below this. So if people want to reach out and ask questions about the route to any one of us, they can. Other than that, I'll let you guys go. Have a great night.
Cool.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it.
Peace.
Bye.
See you, gang.
All right. I hope you enjoyed this audio trip report or Bruise and Beta. I don't know quite what to call it. If you have a great name, type it in the comments below. If you're watching this on YouTube, pop on over and look at Ashley's podcast. It's also a blog, Women of the Wild, spelled with an X. Links in the description below. Also, if you are watching this, you're likely interested in routes in the Pacific Northwest. So definitely keep watching Sean through his social media. That'll be in the description below as well, because he's going to drop that route in the Wallowas very likely this year. And I've seen the maps and the elevation profile, and it is going to be an aesthetic and challenging line in the Wallowas. Very well crafted traverse. So yeah, also, I'll have a link to his tree service business. If you live in the Portland area and you need some tree work done, support Sean's alpine obsession and have him come do your work. Other than that, I guess as for myself, I can't not plug Ultimate Direction, because they brought me on the team and allow me to help refine their products in the Alpine and FKT classification of their products. Tailwind Nutrition for being along with me on like 99% of the FKTs I do. And Athletic Brewing, what I've been drinking throughout this interview, because they've been really supportive of my efforts in the FKT world, and make a great product for when you don't want alcohol or a hangover, or if you finish an FKT effort in the morning and you don't want to put alcohol in your system, but you want some kind of brew to celebrate finishing. It's a great way to go. I'll throw a link and a discount code in the description below for Athletic Brewing as well. Finally, I just really hope you enjoyed this content. It's my first time. Feel free to give me recommendations on how to get better. Yeah, like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll start doing this with some other routes as well. All right, bye-bye.